Hey everybody, Michelle with Triangle Social Media here with Social Soundbites business interviews. Excited to spotlight some local business owners who are in my business community and perhaps yours as well, and just learn a little bit more about some people and what they do and how they do it, maybe some why. And so I'm excited to have my friend Dori Staehle here with me, Next Stage Drumming. And hey Dori, how are you?
Great. Thanks for inviting me, Michelle. Glad we were able to do this.
I am so excited. I love what you do, but I would love for you to give everyone an overview about that.
Sure. I own Next Stage Drumming, which is a very different kind of business because I'm a certified drum therapist. If you've never heard of drum therapy, that's because I'm the only one in the state of North Carolina and probably the South. It's not very well known. It's a form of therapy that involves drumming for specific purposes. I call it percussion with a purpose. So when clients come to me, I ask them what's going on with them, and then what are their goals? And then I will create a customized science-based program that rocks, because I can, because I like to rock. But yeah, it's completely different. It's interactive. It's not a drum lesson, and it's not a drum circle, and it's not African drumming. So these are the things that people tell me that they're assuming that I do when they see a drum like that. So
Right.
there we go.
Yeah.
But it's just that the djembe drums, which is what this is, they're small, they're lightweight, they're portable, they have a great sound. That's the main reason why I use them. It's not for cultural programs or entertainment. I do have friends who do that. They're great at it, but that's not my thing.
Wow, that is helpful because, yes, I have heard some comments, and so it's great for us to kind of re-explain what you do and what the differences are. But before I ask you some of those questions, I'm just curious, what got you started into this whole world of drumming therapy?
It's funny because I was minding my own business. I had a previous business called Next Stage Entertainment. And at the same time, I was running another business called Next Stage Educational Services. So either way, I was working with young people a lot. They were very bright, they were very creative, but they had focusing issues, attention issues. Chances are they weren't doing very well in school, even though they were very bright. So I developed right-brained learning techniques to help them succeed in school, because school is a very left-brained institution. And they just needed a different way to do things and process things. And then I realized as I joined a church band, a rockin' church band in Apex, the flock that rocks, a lot of professional musicians, and then there was me. No lessons, no experience. I just saw a little blurb on their church bulletin, want to join the band? And I checked, yes, sign up to audition. And my husband and son said, you did what? I said, I signed up to audition. I always wanted to play. It's on my bucket list, right? And they're like, but you don't know how to play. I said, well, they don't know that. What's the worst that can happen? They can say, don't call us, we'll call you, right? So I thought, let me give it a try. Let me see if the beats and rhythms that have been in my brain and my body since I was little. I'm a former dancer, tap and jazz, so I knew I had rhythm. I just needed it to come out of my hands at the right times so that I wouldn't totally mess up the beat and mess up the other musicians. And it worked. So I obviously passed the audition. I played with them for 13 years.
Oh my goodness, awesome. I love that.
I didn't know that the drumming, which I was using mainly for entertainment and for worship, I had no idea that it could also be used to help you focus, feel better, beat stress, and ADHD issues. Hey, it takes one to know one. Oh, squirrel, you know? So a lot of the kids I worked with said, oh, you get me. I'm like, welcome to my world. There's a radio station going on in my head 24/7 and 1,001 ideas. So let's see how we can hone this in. And as I was drumming during practice one day, I realized, oh, I feel so relaxed and kind of energized at the same time. That's exactly how Ritalin and Adderall work. So I'm thinking, well, I'm already working with these kids. I had already designed programs for them. Many of them, in fact, like 98% of the hundreds of kids that I worked with over 20 years or so did not need stimulants, because we changed a lot of things. And then the drumming wasn't even in the picture at that time. I started adding it in little bits gradually and realized that it was helping them focus better during like SAT prep. For example, there were a couple of students who were just totally blowing their math problems, but the week before they were doing fine. I asked them, what's going on with you today? What's up? Oh, Miss Dori, I'm so stressed out. I can't even focus. I went, ooh, can you indulge me for 5 or 10 minutes? Can we do something fun? What are they going to say? No, I'd rather work on my math problems. Of course not. They're going to say, oh, please get me away from these math problems. So they came into my living room. I had a couple of drums. They drummed with me using special techniques that I swear I just, off the top of my head, me God, a lot of divine intervention. I just felt like that's what I needed to do to help them integrate the left and right hemispheres of the brain. I know a lot about brain integration. Math is on and language are on the left side. Your creative, spontaneous side, that's the right side of your brain. It's a party in your brain all day long. Woo-hoo. Yeah. And that's why they can't focus. They don't finish things. They have no concept of time, all those things. We're getting a lot of my students mislabeled as ADHD, as LD, learning disabled, and ODD, oppositional defiance disorder. You name it. They were slapping labels on these kids without discovering or uncovering the underlying issues that were causing the symptoms. And that was my whole research, my own personal research that I did. I was in a master's program for gifted ed at the time. And I thought, we need to find out what's triggering the symptoms. And let's see how we can fix it naturally. Having no idea that drumming would not only become a big part of the program, it is now the standalone program. I dropped the tutoring. Drumming was way more fun because the drumming was boosting the results. It was making them move further, much, much faster than anything else that I tried. And then I realized there's something to this. Well, yeah, there's loads of scientific studies and research that proves all the things that happen to your brain and body while you're drumming. Right. So I decided, finally to honor my gifts and talents and realize that I had to be the naysayer. So this is some tips for your audience. I had to be the person that God created me to be. And if he gave me this bizarre gift of rhythm from an early age, I always joke, a white chick with rhythm, I love to play funk and Latin and rock. People don't expect that, but it's got a groove. I'm right there. Then I taught myself how to play the full drum kit or drum set. And I started out on the bongos and congas. That was my main thing. Shill E without the stilettos. That's how I rolled. Okay, I can't drum in heels. I don't want to fall over, But I would move when I play. I had a lot of energy and it just came out and loads of encouragement. So I was also a mentor for a lot of these kids and then later women. And then also at-risk youth and at-risk women, because they needed to hear that they are here for a reason. They have a purpose, and everybody has at least one gift. And drumming lets you release all that and more. Not necessarily, I'm not looking for pro drummers. Again, it's not a drum lesson. It has nothing to do with, teaching you to go on tour with Bruno Mars or Santana or anybody like that. If that's your goal, we'll think about it. But for the main part of the sessions, again, I do private sessions via Zoom right now because that's pretty much what we're stuck with, but it works. And also group classes and events. And what we do is we do breathing, we do affirmations, we create, I sneak in a few therapeutic elements to the mix. They don't even see it coming. They don't even know. And they feel so much better afterwards. I've heard of cases of instant clarity. One session with several women that I've worked with, and all of a sudden they knew what they needed to do for their businesses, for example. Wow. And they created all these programs and it was like boom, boom, boom. The clutter, that I call static in the attic was gone because drumming really helps you clear out all of that because you can only focus on the beat and the rhythm and you're in the zone and I get them to relax and I say encouraging things to let them know it's going to be okay.
Wow, that's amazing. You in all of that wonderful information, I think you already answered my next question, which was going to be related to the difference between drum lessons and drum therapy, which I kind of understand now. Do many people ask you that question, like, well, what's the difference? And how do you give them like a quick answer to something that might take more of a conversation.
Well, it's interesting, Michelle, because people don't always ask the difference. They contact me and they'll say, I want to sign my kid up for drum lessons, and we'll talk. And I always do a little screening call, because I've learned that I really need to know what's going on to see which one would be better. And I want to know their goals. The goal of a drum lesson, and this is how I quickly explain it. The goal of a drum lesson is learning to play the drum parts of your favorite songs. Right? You are trying to learn. I guess you get the basic drumming exercises, which are called drumming rudiments. Every drum teacher usually teaches those. But most people want to know, how do I play the drumming parts of a song? Or, how do I play along to my favorite song? If you only want to know that and you don't have any learning issues going on, then a drum lesson is the way to go. But you've got to be over 6. Actually, I don't work with anybody under the age of 12. There's a reason for that. They've got to practice a lot. They've got to develop ear training, because I play by ear.
Right.
It's like Suzuki with drums, the Suzuki method, but with drums. So they learn how to train their ear. Now, for drum therapy, if they tell me that their kid has been labeled ADHD, is taking medication, or has these issues, or has Asperger's or autism, or is on the autism spectrum, or has physical issues going on, then that's drum therapy. The purpose of drum therapy is actually not to learn how to play your favorite songs, although I do sneak that in at the end, because that's like, you got to dangle a little bit of a carrot to get, if you stick with me, kids, for this whole session, we're going to rock out at the end.
Yeah.
So they get that. But the purpose of drum therapy is actually healing. It's a healing modality using drumming. So I'm trained through and certified through an organization that's international, and it's called Drums and Disabilities. And the main reason being, when I started out, I wanted to help kids with ADHD issues and special needs, because I really had a heart for those kids, and I knew that this would help. I could feel it. I don't have time to give you my accident story, but I was physically and emotionally healed after a freak accident in 2011, thanks to drumming for only 2 weeks and a whole lot of divine interventions. So I had no idea that drumming can actually repair the cells of your body, and also can help you break free from depression and from anxiety and anything else that you might be feeling. But you have to be open to it. And you have to realize that this isn't some, unusual woo-woo kind of thing. There's nothing hippie about me. I don't wear tie-dye. I'm a rock chick, and for people who do that, please hear me on this. There's some people that are in that community, and that's their thing, and they're really, really having a blast, and they're great at it. But I don't really consider myself a drum circle facilitator because of my training with Drums and Disabilities. That company was formed by a rock drummer who had dyslexia, past tense.
Really?
Yes. So he discovered that drumming actually on the drum kit or on drum pads, because the exercises that he uses is a lot of music based on rudiments and things like that. It's different. But it was a good start for me to get a taste of something that somebody who was a percussionist and now a drummer can use. And again, it's internationally known. He's actually forming the Metal Hall of Fame. So he's a rock drummer. He didn't know anything about, the other types of drumming that people are doing. And he trademarked the term drum therapy. So if people say you can't call yourself a drum therapist, well, yeah, I can actually. I've been with them since 2009, so paid for the training.
Learning so much. I know that I've shared a lot of your, content, maybe events and things in the past, because you help lots of different demographics of people, but homeschooling community is one, because there's a lot of kids, I think, who could benefit. And of course, a lot of people are homeschooling or schooling at home and homeschooling, which are two different things. But I think all children could benefit from at least exploring, the parents. I encourage you to reach out to Dori, find out more if this would be something that would help your kids, especially if they're struggling with ADD, ADHD, and other different things that Dori has just told us about. So it's very impressive.
Thank you.
Dori, please be so good as to share the links to your website, your social media platforms in the thread of this video so that people can connect with you, and you'll see the scrolling information on the bottom there. Of course, that's not clickable, so we want to share the link so that people can directly, reach out to you, call you, or contact you, and get even more information. And I have one more question.
Sure.
I know that you have recently written a book, and I would love to give you a platform to just give a shout out to yourself. Tell us a little bit about the book if you happen to have it. I don't know, with you.
Oh, hey, as a matter of fact, I have it right here.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is like the pro demo copy there. Where I'm getting straight. Oh, we got Rise Up and Rock. It's called
Yeah.
Activating Your God-Given Purpose. And I wrote this book because there were so many people, especially when the pandemic first started, that kept telling me that they felt lost. Both women and teens, because I do have some teen clients, and some are feeling socially isolated. But what came up a lot, and this has been going on for years, but it sort of amped up during the pandemic. Why am I here? They wanted to know, why am I here? What's my purpose? Or if they knew their purpose, or if they had a business or career, it was working before, but it's not working now. So they wanted to know, now what? So I gave lots of tips, exercises, action items, and success stories of those of us that started businesses, careers, and ministries from scratch. And in many times, it was because something bad happened. And we regrouped and said, okay, when you get knocked down, you have a choice. You can either stay down or you can choose to get up. Yeah. And I chose to get up and rise up and rock. So I do a lot of motivational speaking for that reason, that I want to tell people that, okay, you don't have to stay stuck. You can switch things up and discover that maybe there are some gifts and talents that you didn't even know that you had, including like drumming. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I'd be doing this, I would have told you you were nuts, because I didn't see it. But things can surface and things can be used in different ways, not only for you, but also to bless others. And right now, we need to really reach out and do things that will help others in a really big way, because it's time, people. It's not time to sit back. It's time to rise up and rock. So I hope people are encouraged by the book. It is written from a Christian perspective, but you don't have to be Christian to read it. You'll still get something out of it.
Awesome. I love that. Also, please, is there, a link where people can find out if they're interested in purchasing the book? You can add that to the thread as well. We'd love to see that. And I just so appreciate that you were able to come and share with me today. I appreciate what you're doing and love what you do. And I just want to, thank you and ask everyone, hey, connect with Dori and then come back every Wednesday at noon for more interviews. If you're interested in being interviewed, please reach out. And what I'm doing next is I go into the Facebook group, and we're going to do some social media tips in my Facebook group, Triangle Social Media Meetups. So everyone have a yay, drum roll.
Drum roll for you.
We'll see you next week. Thank you, Dori.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.